So this is your first hunt. And you've come to the most dangerous planet in the universe. You're after a creature that can't be killed. The definitive apex predator. I could help you.
Okay, Johnny, this one's got your number on it. Let's jam.
From CinemaJam. I'm Sebastian Gomez. Today we're going to be talking about that franchise that doesn't want to die and is taking us to the future and leaving Earth behind. It's going to be an interesting topic because we're talking about Predator Badlands by Dan Trachtenberg. 2 years ago, Dan Trachtenberg revitalized the Predator franchise in a big way. He released the movie Prey, regrettably was released on Hulu because of the pandemic, but it was such a good movie. It brings back the interest on the Predator franchise in a big way, and now he's trying to do the opposite of Prey by bringing Predator Badlands, which hit theaters on November 7th of 2025. So the question is, can lightning strike twice, even when you're flipping the script? So first, to be clear, this isn't a movie about humans running from a predator. This movie is about a predator. The protagonist is Dek, a young Yautja, that's the name of the predators, or the race of the predators, I guess, Yautja, who is exiled from his clan. And to prove himself, he travels to one of the most hostile planets that even the Yautja are afraid of, that is called Jenna, to hunt an unkillable monster. And he's not alone. He teams up with Thea, a damaged Weyland-Yutani android played by Elle Fanning. And yes, you heard that right. A predator and an android from the alien universe are teaming up to fight bigger monsters. So some of the things that I really like about the movie is that the chemistry between Dek and Thea is actually well done. Dan Trachtenberg was inspired by R2-D2 and 3PO. They mention also Shadows of the Colossus and Terminator 2. And you can tell, there is a lot of chemistry between, pairing these two very different characters, having them have a trip together around and protecting themselves and finding ways to communicate and learn together, basically. There are a lot of practical effects. You can actually tell that Dek is a guy in a suit, but the suit is actually very well done. There is a lot of physical actions that he's doing. And also Tien, at the beginning of the movie, she doesn't have any legs, so she has to be strapped at Dek's back, so they are always talking, and you can tell that, he's carrying her, walking around, climbing mountains, working in the jungle, and she uses her while they are fighting together. So it's actually, the choreography and the chemistry between them is actually very, very well done, and it feels tactile and real. You are also learning a lot about the predator culture. And that's one of the things that, for example, Prey was actually very, very good, that you were learning about, not the predator in that case, you were learning about the culture of the natives that the predator was hunting in that movie. So you were actually learning about the costumes and how they hunt and everything. And in this one is actually basically the same that you were learning from Prey. You are now learning from the Predator side, from the Yautja. So, you're learning about their code, his insecurities, and we never learn about them in any of the movies. So, well, it was something actually quite interesting. Some of the controversy around the movie online is around the Disneyfication of the movie. I mean, this is a movie produced by 20th Century Fox, or what used to be Fox Studios. Now is obviously a Disney company. So there is a lot of characters and creatures, and there is actually a character named Bud. He's a small, cute alien creature that joins the party later in the movie. So he's traveling with Tia and Deck. And let's be honest, it actually looks a little bit like Stitch from the Lilo and Stitch movies. It even rolls around sometimes. So yeah. So if you're one of the horror purists or Predator purists, you're probably going to hate the creature. But there is actually a meaning of there's actually an interesting secret around the creature that is going to play a big part at the end of the movie. So I actually think it was a well-kept surprise, and I really like the surprise when it happened. But, I mean, it is a cute creature that looks like it was put there to sell toys. But, yeah, I don't think many kids are going to buy a plushie of this creature. It's not that cute, to be honest. It's cute, but not that cute. The thing is that's one of the aspects that pushes the movie a little bit closer to Star Wars territory and farther away from the horror original of the 1987 film. Or if you have listened to our main podcast, CinemaJam podcast, we talk about Predator 2, actually, in that podcast at the beginning of November. And that movie is actually more horror focused than even the 1987 original. So you're not going to find this. This is less like a slasher movie. You're not going to find that. This is more an adventure, actually. To be honest, it felt even more than Star Wars. It actually felt closer to James Cameron's Avatar movies, especially that alien planet trying to kill everyone, and the interference of human colonies that want to capture deck sprays and capture the creatures in these planets, the aliens in these planets. I mean, in this case, there are no humans. They are sending only androids because the planet is so dangerous, but it's still that same topic of around the human colonies trying to exploit an alien planet. So that's basically the theme around Avatar. So you can feel that in this movie. And the other heavy theme in this movie is around Deck. He's an outcast, right? An outcast of his tribe. Tia is a broken machine as well. So she's actually, basically decided to, I don't know, they were going to recycle her or whatever. Yeah. And the main bad character, if I remember correctly, is called Tessa. That is also an android in this movie. And so we're seeing the Predator not as a mindless killer, but as a creature that has a culture. It has a need for validation, for approval, and it can be a little bit emotional at times, especially if you're thinking it's a guy with a in a costume with a face that moves, basically with mandibles, I guess. So yeah, it's interesting. It's also quite interesting because it takes you from Prey that was in the same way in the past, and now it's taking us to the future. So it's actually Dan Trachtenberg is actually exploring a lot of the different topics around the Predator culture. He also released in June in Hulu in the United States and Disney Plus in other countries the Predator Killer of Killers. That is an animated movie, and in that one, he's exploring a lot of the culture of the Predator or the Yautja culture. Predator Badlands, in the end, is a futuristic high fantasy, very different from the historical stripped back movie that was Prey, but it's still, exploring different tips. It's just not as suspenseful as the other movies, to be honest. It's an adventure. It's actually quite interesting. The planet feels alive with a lot of interesting creatures, like Avatar, to be honest. But it's still, it's very different to any other Predator interaction we have seen before. Other movies that actually have a little bit of the same feeling are Enemy of Mine, Pitch Black, and as I mentioned, Avatar. You know, that survival sci-fi on a hostile planet. Basically, it's very similar themes. So in the end, I think it's a big weird swing. I really like it. It's not the best Predator movie. I still think the first one and Prey are the better movies, but I will probably put it in a respectful third place before Predators, the one directed by Nimrod and Tal, produced by Robert Rodriguez. At least he's tried to make something different and expand in the universe. So I really respect that, and I really like what he's bringing in right now to the universe. So yeah, I hope he keeps going, and I think the movie was successful enough, so I think he will be able to come back and find another interesting story around the Predator universe. If you like this movie, especially, those topics about android with feelings or, other types of aliens, I mean, you can watch Aliens, the second movie, where Bishop is a big part of the movie. And I also think, Brad Bird's The Iron Giant can be also an interesting connection with this movie, the robot learning about, having feelings. That's it for this mini jam from CinemaJam. Are you okay with an adventure Predator, or should we stick to the spine-ripping horror of the previous movies? Let me know on social media. Until next time, keep jamming about movies.